What's going on, dude?
Man, you almost lost me. I'm glad you sent that that link when you did. I
You getting
I
ready
completely forgot, man.
to
Yeah. I completely forgot.
What's going on, man? How you been?
Same old with me, man. Just glad I still got a paycheck.
Me and you both, man. I'm ready to
no,
check in and find out I got fired any day now.
I haven't worked in a month. Like I'm getting my paycheck, but I haven't gone to the office in a month. I meant to text you and ask you how that special went though. Did they try to say it's the Marine Corps' fault or did they blame DHS?
It was just kind of a nothing story, man. Honestly,
I'm not
they
surprised.
were just yeah. It was a minute and 20 seconds of just nonsense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, because there's
I
nothing
was
to
upset.
it.
I
You know
wasted
what
some
I'm saying?
time.
So
Yeah, yeah. There was nothing. Um, but yeah, man. Just another close out of week. It's Friday. We're excited in the Rando home because it's WrestleMania weekend, so we're gonna have 2 days of good old wrestling. So you gotta get the boy, you gotta get your boy into that, man.
I can't. I can't. When I was in middle school, my boy in middle school was heavily into it, so that got me into it a little bit. Um, I would say that's probably like Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho heyday.
Oh
Um,
yeah,
and then after those 2 3 years in middle school, that was about all she wrote for me. Like I got down with the Rock. I thought the Rock was cool and all that, but and not that he did anything wrong, but around the John Cena time is where I kind of tuned out of uh, wrestling.
hey, I mean, it doesn't matter to you, but John Cena's a heel now. He came back, and he's been a good guy his whole career. And now him and Rock are bad dudes now. So he's flipped his wrestling time upside down. But for me, it's nostalgia, man, because like back in the day, it was was with Pops, and my folks were split up. So like I would go with Pops on the weekend that WWE or WCW was happening when you had to pay like the $40 for the pay per view, and I would get to stay up late and watch it. And I'd have my bear, and I would be Goldberg was my guy, so I'd just be beating the living hell out of that thing. And now I see
Goldberg was
Jackson doing the
cool.
same thing. Yeah,
Yeah, Goldberg with
now see,
the spear. I always
yeah,
liked this. I always thought the spear was super hardcore. I mean, yeah, back then there was actually a lot of dudes that I liked, but I really liked. I mean, Rey Mysterio was dope. Chris Benoit
he's
was my
still doing it,
guy.
dude. Rey
I
Mysterio's
know,
still doing it.
I know,
It's
I
crazy.
know. That is insane. Uh, let's see who Chris Jericho, Kurt Angle. Kane, he's supposedly the mayor of Knoxville. Um, I don't know if you knew that or not, but
I did not.
yeah, he's supposed to be the mayor of Knoxville, the guy who was Kane. Uh, Undertaker, yeah, all that whole Sting, that whole WCW versus NWO time frame. I was pretty into it then, but yeah, I don't know. I guess the fakeness finally just kind of took over for me. I got no beef with people who like it. It just I don't I don't get down with it.
Yeah, Jackson
I
finally
thought.
started. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, I was about to switch it. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, Jackson was talking to one of his buddies the other day, and they were watching it like they were a buddy from Colorado Springs. So they were like FaceTime each other while watching wrestling, and I heard him say like, "Well, they're not like really hitting each other in the face," and I'm like, "Dang." Dang, he's hard to pick up on, but he's still
Hey,
into it.
what? But that's
He
what I was
still
gonna
likes
say.
it.
If he knows that and he still likes it, like that's a win.
Yeah. But does recognize, he said, but some of the stuff they do is still crazy. Like, I mean, you get up on a 30-foot daggum, or I guess it's 20-foot daggum cage, and you backflip off that thing. Like, it's unreal. It's unreal. And
I
most of
agree.
these dudes are former ball players, like all the Usos, Jay, Jimmy, Roman Reigns, like they all played college ball
I
at a
just
pretty
saw
young.
Roman Reigns highlight maybe today or yesterday when he was at Georgia Tech. He was a beast.
I didn't know Jimmy, I'm sorry, Jay, who's like he's a big name in UFC or WWE right now. Uh, there was like a trivia thing on where did he play football, and I figured him being a Cali boy, it was at best, UCLA or something like that. He actually got drafted when he played at Texas, which was surprising. So, um,
Yeah, no, those dudes are studs, man, for sure. I don't take anything from them in their physical capabilities at all.
and I'm not a Paul family fan, to be honest. But Jake Paul, I think, is the one. He came in, and that dude is a phenomenal athlete. Like, he just came in there, he's starting to backflipping off the ropes and stuff. So I'm not, like I said, I don't really get down with them. And every time the brother gets in the ring, I hope he gets knocked out. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
refuse to give them any props. I
yeah.
hate those dudes.
But he is a hell of an athlete.
I
Um, but hey, let's start off with college basketball, because we were talking earlier this week, and I think it was Monday. I shot you that story where it said UT was picking up steam on Nate Ament, and I was like, hey, the smoke is out there, but I'm pretty sure the text I sent you didn't seem like a Rick Barnes move to pay him a bunch of money for a guy who's been kind of just putting on a show, seems to be a prima donna, and the latest as of yesterday was he everybody's crystal ball on him to Tennessee.
Yeah, I was listening to the Sports Animal earlier today, and that's one of the reporters from Vols 24/7 or whatever the website is.
Yeah,
They seem to feel they seem to feel pretty confident about it. And apparently, Nate Amend and Rick Barnes have like a really good relationship. Uh, and so that's what I was telling you. I think Rick Barnes has done a really good job of adapting, evolving, adjusting with uh, this new landscape of the portal and NIL and all that. So I don't think he really has an issue paying people. I mean, as we saw with Chaz, I think he outbid Kentucky and all that, right? So I mean, I think he's willing to pay people. I think you just have to jive with what his style of basketball is. So I think he lets every single solitary person know, like, you will not touch the court if you won't play defense. Um, so
but has he
I,
has he
I still
paid a
haven't
big
really
time
watched it.
freshman since NIL started? Like, I know he's paid proven transfer
He
players.
correct, and no, but NIL is still pretty new.
Yeah,
And the way that he's been building UT up has not been. I mean, he's gotten a couple high profile dudes, but it started like kind of with Grant and Admiral, who were not 5-star guys, but they were the ones who could build the Tennessee culture, right? And then got passed on to like Yves Pons and then Meshack and all that. So I think he's done it now. He has now established the Tennessee culture where he's had a fair amount of success with hard nosed type dudes. So everybody knows if you're coming to Tennessee, you're going to get coached hard. You're going to play defense, and so he's brought in a couple high profile guys with Keon Johnson and Kennedy Chandler, Jaden Springer and stuff, and they came and they played hard. So I think he built it from the ground up with his 3-star dudes with Grant and Admiral and all that. And now that Tennessee has a name out there and is relevant in the basketball landscape, I think he can kind of go after some of the more high profile guys. And if they come, they know what they're signing up for.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and you all had some roster spots to fill, which means you probably had some free NIL money. Um, have you looked at his game much? And have you like, how do you feel about him coming in?
I don't know. I'm gonna wait until he signs, then I'll go check him
That's
out.
fair. That's fair.
That that be from I mean, he's a 5-star, right? So theoretically that means he can hoop, and that's huge because we honestly, like you said, we had a fairly empty roster. Uh, Really nobody returning from the wing. We're gonna lean, I think, heavily on Bishop Boswell, hoping that he improves and he's kind of ready to take the reins. But if we can get somebody who can come in and be dynamic and give uh, Gillespie somebody to be a point guard for, I think that bodes well. And again, like, to me, if you're coming to Tennessee, you already know what you're signing up for, uh, and that means he's going to be willing to hunker down on defense. So yeah, I mean, hey, big name, awesome, cool. I don't really care. I care more so if you fit into into the Rick Barnes style. That's what he's had success doing. Now, obviously, we need something more dynamic to get past the Elite Eight, but the fact that we've made it to the Elite Eight 2 years in a row also says something. So I hope he comes, and I hope we get that dude from LMU. He either just took his visit or he's about to this coming week to Tennessee. So there is some mutual interest there. I don't think it's said and done or anything. Um, but there's supposed to be some mutual interest there too. And yeah, with Meshack, Gainey, Igor, Chaz, and Zakai gone, I think that opened up like almost the entire NIL budget, besides whatever Felix Akpara was getting, and I mean Cade Phillips. Hopefully he gets in my opinion, he deserves a raise, but he's probably only getting 20, 30, $40,000. So I think most of the basketball NIL budget is out there. Gillespie probably got a pretty penny, um, but the money's there, and we're basically rebuilding the entire roster. So I hope these guys show, because we need the bodies. I just don't know enough about their actual game.
Yeah, I mean, so I think Nate Ament had dropped, if I'm not mistaken, to a 4-star. I don't know. I don't understand how these things, honestly, how these things fluctuate. Um, because I don't know how they measure them and the stars ranking and what percentage can have a 5-star. I honestly don't know, and honestly, I don't really care. Like, it's just um, we've seen dudes who are highly rated 5-star, come in here and or come play college ball and kind of wash out. Shoot, we had uh, Bradshaw on the team and Justin Edwards, and Bradshaw's on his third team now. Transferred to Ohio State. He's back in the transfer portal, and Justin Edwards, went into the draft, but didn't even get drafted. Sitting playing on Philly right now. But yeah, it's that kid from JMU has been in the portal for a minute, and he's been taking his time making a decision. He's been highly sought after. Would be a good get.
LMU,
LMU, I'm sorry, LMU.
LMU.
Yeah, um,
Yeah.
and but I imagine Barnes sold him on, like, he wants to play that stretch 4 spot. Nate Ament's 6'9". He 6'9", looks like he's 180 pounds soaking wet. Like, he's got to put on some mass to play in the SEC. But SEC, so he's definitely got some uh, talent. But it's gonna see how that transitions. Um, for Kentucky, it was a wild week, man. Lamar Wilkinson, we were talking about it. I sent you last week. I said, hey, check out Lamar Wilkinson, because he's like locked to Kentucky. We talked about it on the show. We were really excited to get him. He made his visit. He got the whole Keeneland experience. Was walk around the winning horse, like, was everything. Every Kentucky insider, even non-Kentucky insiders, were talking about how he was coming to Kentucky. I think Trilly was the only one who stood fast on IU. He canceled his Auburn visit. His grandmama was on the plane to go to Auburn from where she came from, and he canceled his visit and had to call her and be like, "Hey, just so you know, you're going to Auburn, Alabama, for no reason."
I will not be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like, hey, all the writing was on the wall, and he was he 20 point he was the leading scorer in NCAA, and I think he had the best percentage this year in 3-point shots. It looked like he was going to come in there and fill that Kobe Bryant role right off the bat, but be a better athlete, like better three-way scorer initially than Kobe was when he first stepped on campus. Um, and then, like, out of nowhere, midday, dropped. He committed to IU. There was some speculation that they offered him last minute a bag. 2.8 million was the alleged number, which is wild. Like, hell of a player, but that's a bunch of money to come in.
Money
It
talks.
does. There was also alleged that there was a staff positioning that got opened up for a family member that may maybe um, have swayed his decision, but his uncle is the track coach for Kentucky, so I don't know. They kind of, that's, I think that probably evens itself out. But he made a comment after on Field of 68 about why he chose IU over Kentucky. And I want to get your take on this. He said, I didn't want to come to Kentucky and just be another guy. I wanted to go to IU so I could try to get them to the tournament. So I heard that and said, not the kind of dude I want playing for. Like, if you don't want to come and compete and be just like, I don't want to come and be another guy. So I took it as like, Kentucky's already got a lot of talent. Otega Oweh potentially coming back. We got some good portal gets so far. He doesn't think he can stand out in that group. So he wants to go and kind of be a guy who can get 35 minutes a game and shoot as many shots as he wants to, which is kind of the opposite of the culture that Pope had built in his first season. When you hear in that quote, I know I'm not giving you a lot of context, but when you hear that quote, how do you think that? How do you take that?
I see it from both sides. I 100% understand it from your side, but it's interesting because what the sports animal was saying about Nate Mint today, because for the longest he had been linked to Duke, and he was like, so you can go to Duke and you can be one of 1,000 dudes, who have legacy and history and success at Duke, or you can carve out, it's much more likely to be on the Mount Rushmore at Tennessee if you're able to get us to the Final Four. So it might not be that he doesn't think that he could be successful at Kentucky, but IU is historic, but they've also been bad for the last 20 years or, whatever, save a random year here or there. So you can go to Kentucky where the Mount Rushmore is almost, it's essentially unattainable, or you can go to IU who's the last big legacy guy at IU. Somebody who played for Bobby Knight, probably Isaiah Thomas. Like
Oh, who
who
hit
I
the
don't know.
shot?
I
Who
can't.
hit the shot against us and played for Miami? The Heat, right? I'll look it.
Somebody who went to
Yeah, I
IU.
look it up. It was the last one of the last times that we played in that series. The dude hit the game winner. IU's been living off that dream for years and years and years.
Sure.
But yeah, you're right. Like they
But
haven't
yeah,
been
so
there,
I
right?
I, I see it. Yeah, so I see it both ways. He's like, okay, I can go to Kentucky. I can be one of 100 other guys. Not that I won't necessarily be good or successful or even make it to the league, um, but I have the potential. Obviously the tangible benefits of the money and all that are there, but then also the likelihood of carving myself into history. This guy said Watford.
Watford, yeah, Watford.
I don't know.
I just saw it. Yep.
So that's how I see it. Like that wouldn't have turned me off from him because I see it as just like I have a chance to elevate myself, into all time Bloomington lore. Whereas if I go to Lexington, I'm competing all the way back with. I mean, my history only goes back to like Jamal Mashburn type, but even all the guys
Yeah,
before that.
and I get that
So you just
there were some people who took it that way as like there were some folks even within Kentucky who were like who took it as a he's saying the spotlight at Kentucky's not big enough. He wants a bigger spotlight at Indiana because they're not relevant. Not necessarily how I took it because I watched Daniel Orton on the 2012 team get drafted to play. I mean, he damn near he didn't play any. Didn't do much. Got drafted to Orlando, just like that. He was truly another guy and found himself in the draft. And now he's on the TBT team playing for Kentucky. Like these, like Nate Sestina came in, played well, is now on the on the TBT team, and is a Kentucky legend for dropping Louisville again. So it's like we talked about Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant came in, quote unquote, another guy. And now he's, went from not being on a draft board to potentially getting drafted in the second round and was highlighted in TurboTax and AT&T commercials during the national champ or the NCAA tournament. So, you know, I get it. Just like if you come to Kentucky as even if you're another guy and you hang a banner, like you're legendary in that state for forever. And that opportunity was there for him. I think if he came here, he chose to get to go to Indiana. And the other thing of it was like his success was just making it to the tournament. Like, and you live in the same world of like just making it to the tournament doesn't mean a damn thing. Like getting there is great. If you ain't gonna make it in through multiple weekends, then the fan base doesn't care. They're gonna eat you alive. So um, we'll find out real quick though. We play.
But okay, but think about Kobe Bryant, right? I think he's a prime example. Dude is a stud this year,
Yeah.
right? 5 years down the line, nobody's gonna think about him.
When you talk about
Like I like
outside of Kentucky, or
I think even in Kentucky, like because in the end, y'all made it to the Sweet 16, right? Like what did he do to etch himself into Kentucky? Look, there's been a million
beat
guys
your
who have
ass
had good
twice.
seasons. Not in the tournament though. So
I think
again, again,
I think you would be correct potentially if this was just another team, but because it was Pope's first year and they won some, they beat Duke, they beat Gonzaga, I mean, yeah, it wasn't a tournament, but they did as underdogs both times, even at home, beat Tennessee, which is massive for Kentucky fans. Um, you know, and it was Pope's first season. We finally got a SEC tournament win. We finally got out of the first weekend for the last half decade. So I think this team is unique. Like Kobe Bryant will be remembered, especially the way Kobe Bryant, Andrew Carr, Ansley Amador, like the way they talked about coming here. I think they'll have a soft place in Kentucky fans' hearts. But I understand what you're saying. Like, what's an example? Kellen Grady. Like, only big time Kentucky fans will remember how good he was before he kind of fell off in the tournament because he got hurt. Or CJ when he was here from Cincinnati, like he was great, but couldn't stay healthy. Like those guys kind of get forgotten about. Those are your other guys. So I get what you're saying. He was one of the like top portal gets. I was thinking he would have the confidence coming here and be like, I'm going to compete with Otega Owe and uh, Colin Chandler to be like the face of this team. But like you said, two point
and
eight million.
but
That's all that
that's
matters.
what I'm
Two point
saying.
eight million.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, money
yeah.
talks. But I mean, honestly, if he can lead, like he said it, if he can lead Indiana just to the tournament, he's probably being talked about in Bloomington, which is a crazy basketball fandom area. He's being talked about there for years and years and years to come, unless he has Final Four type success and he's one of the leaders on the Kentucky team. He Y'all probably gonna forget about him. Like you said, besides people who are really diehard about it, which many of y'all are, you have a strong fan base, but just in general, I think it sounds to me like he wants to be remembered and like really establish a legacy. And right now, it's probably, if you can have any kind of success, probably easier to do that at Indiana. Although they had Romeo Langford a few years ago, I think when I was recruiting at Purdue, he ended up being a stud, and I doubt they talk about him. So I mean, who knows? But it seems to me he's a little more worried about legacy. And I guess my hope is that Nate Ament is the same
Yeah.
way. And he's like, I don't want to compete with Christian Laettner, Grant Hill, Jay Williams, Elton Brand, blah blah blah. I'll compete with like Dale Ellis and Chris Lofton and Allen Houston and just like Bernard King and a couple other guys. Now's the Kai Ziegler, but our list is much shorter than Duke's,
Yeah.
and I think Indiana's is much shorter than Kentucky's, so that may be the appeal.
Yeah. I mean, we shall let what I was gonna say is we play them in early December or mid December. So we're gonna find out how in the first Kentucky Indiana series in a long time. We're gonna see how he matches the spotlight. I think that game's in Nashville. No, the game against Gonzaga is Nashville. That game might be in Rupp. So he gonna hear it from Kentucky fans. He put us through a ride. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
he gonna hear it.
he'll
Um,
hear it.
but
He'll hear it for
to
sure.
answer real quick to Muhammad Diabate enthusiast, so he's someone who's a fan of our so Rylan Griffin. I really like his game. I don't. He says how you feel about getting Rylan. I know that it seemed like Pope flew out to Cali today. Paige Stojakovic's boy is in the portal from Cal, Andrej, and then Rylan is represented by Clutch Sports, which is based out of LA or has an office in LA. Rylan Griffin, to me, if you watch his film from Bama, his game looks just like Jackson Robinson's, to be very honest with you. So like the way he moves, everything, he gets to the bucket, I think, easier than Jackson Robinson did. He seems to be able to finish around the rim a little better. But yeah, if I'm Coach Pope and I want him, which he played with, and he also played with Mo at Alabama, so I'm putting on tape of Jackson Robinson when he was at BYU and before he got hurt at Kentucky and saying, hey, see this dude? Like, this is you. And this dude's getting ready to get drafted in the late first, early second round of the NBA draft. And he probably would have gone higher if he could have stayed healthy. So that's what I'm selling there. I think that's a good get for Kentucky in the portal. But honestly, who knows? The Kentucky portal situation has been a freaking mess. Every time anybody thinks we have an idea of who we're bringing in, it's out of nowhere. They go somewhere else, or it's somebody that we haven't even heard of, like this kid from.
That's why I just
Yeah,
wait.
you got to.
That's why I just wait until they
Yeah,
sign. I'm like, once they sign, then I'll check them
that's the
out.
smart play. I just can't help myself, and I'd be get into these daggum plane trackings and watching video and whatnot. That's so the Swope kid from Indiana State hit the portal. I don't know if you remember him during their run last year, especially they didn't make the tournament, but they did well in the NIT. He's like 5'10". Dude is an absolute bucket, man, and he scored 19 or 20 on Seton Hall to go to the championship game on a torn meniscus. So he's playing on one leg and still dropped. I mean, dude's a dog, and he hit the poor. And we need a point guard, like a secondary ball handler, in my opinion. I'm like, go get this dude. I have no idea if Pope's interested or not. I'm just like, but this dude is like a dude you want on your team, man. So I'm just way too invested in that shit. But we'll see. The right play is uh, hey, wait till the roster is settled here in a month or two, and then look into it and see how you feel about that. But to close out college basketball, we did get some news. Colin Chandler's back. Uh, Trent Noah's back. Brandon Garrison's back. We're still waiting on Otega Owe. He put out a statement saying that he's hitting the draft to see just kind of but he's maintaining his college eligibility. So hopefully he's back. The tea leaves say that he is back because he's chasing the first round draft pick and he's not even on draft boards mostly. So getting him back is massive. But yeah, we'll see how that goes.
I'm just glad Bray is gone. That I hate that dude, man.
I think he hated you equally.
Glad he's gone.
Unfortunately, he just had a bad game. Yeah,
Clearly,
yeah. Um,
clearly.
but unfortunately, he just had a tough. Everybody except Lamont Butler had a tough game in that Sweet 16 matchup. But you see this new college.
Yeah, I mean nothing but respect to Bray though. I mean, I hate him because he can hoop.
Yeah.
He had good games against us. So.
He absolutely is a baller. So did you see the new rule on the college football injury deal? It's going to piss off Lane Kiffin.
I saw a headline. I saw a headline saying a new rule about faking injuries was coming, but I didn't see that they published the actual rule.
So long story short is the way I read it was if dude goes down on the field and it requires a trainer to come out, which I think the trainer coming out is what stops the clock, or at least maybe the ref forcing the trainers to come out. So it will cost the team a timeout. The team doesn't have any more timeouts. It's a 5-yard delay of game penalty. What I didn't get into was, is it 5-yard delay of game penalty and then clock runs on the snap, or if it's clock runs on the spot? Because if it's the clock is going on the snap, it's not going to change anything because teams will take a 5-yard penalty to get the clock to just stop, and because that's why they're doing it, right? Especially late in the game. So I got to do some more research into that.
They're doing it so they can. Yeah, they're doing it so that they can get their subs in because they want to either change the defensive package or they got to slow the momentum from the offense
Yeah.
or whatever. I mean, but if they do it on a third down and it's 3rd and 2 and they're just wanting to sub in, they want to get their run stoppers in instead of their dime package or whatever, then that 5-yard penalty matters.
Yeah. And I
So
was only looking at it from the offensive side.
I
I
guess
guess
it'll be situational.
yeah, and I guess it does matter on the defensive side because if you're going to give them a free 5 yards, that's a massive benefit, especially late in game to the offense. So I was only thinking about the
Yeah,
offensive side, but
I mean, against Tennessee, it's always the defense
yeah,
that's doing it, and then even we did it a few times defensively. But yeah, usually because and it's not unique to us, but we don't huddle. Nobody huddles, so that doesn't give defenses a chance to rotate fresh pass rushers in, switch from nickel to dime to 4-3 or whatever their base is. They don't get to adjust situationally their defensive package, and that's why they started doing that fake injury stuff,
yeah,
either to stop momentum or to change the package or get fresh rushers in there or whatever. So um, yeah, I'm glad they're doing something to clean that up. I mean, you can't be mad at coaches for taking advantage of something that was there. Um, but like, hey, you got to knuckle up and you got to win with whoever you got on the field. And that's going to be part of an adjustment that coaches have to make. What balance can you find where if guys got to stay on the field, they can make it a whole 12-yard drive. They can be versatile enough to handle pass heavy, run heavy, a mixture. That's just going to be another stressor on coaches. Got to earn your money.
yeah, 100%. Speaking about playing with the players that are on the field, Tennessee got to play with the quarterback who's on the team right now. Nico seems I've heard I haven't heard him like I've seen anything commitment, but all the tea leaves. I think Cowherd said he's going to UCLA. Have you seen the news about this and the all the NIL stuff that has come and the money and the contract and all the other stuff that's gone afterwards?
Yeah, I thought UCLA was set in stone.
Maybe it was. Yesterday I
It,
just saw the report say that it's going to happen soon or it's getting ready to happen.
yeah. If I'm being honest, I don't really care. Like once he's not on the balls, like it doesn't really matter to me. It's like I told y'all last week. I did not want to lose him, but it was pretty obvious we were going to, and um, he. I think he still has a ton of potential, but he did not perform well enough this past season where I'm just freaking out that he's gone. Like, obviously all over social media, Tennessee fans are freaking out and they're just like dragging him and all that. And to me, because now they're all saying he was trash, he stinks, he was horrible and all that. And if that's the case, then why, other than pride, like why are you so up in arms about the fact that he's leaving if you think he's so terrible? So I did not think he was so terrible, but I also didn't think he performed in a manner that warrants me truly freaking out, other than the fact that it's putting Tennessee in a tough spot because of the timing. Um, but to me, it honestly this past season he was just like Joe Milton all over again. And there's kind of been two sides of the story. Tennessee side is saying he was holding out, or not even that he was holding out really, but that he was wanting more money. His side is saying that they wanted to change the offense. Um, the offense side, that one's tough for me, man, because he missed what 8, 9 wide open receivers with 5 yards of separation down. That's a walk-in touchdown. So the offensive statistics and the offensive look and success is way different if you just perform better. So I don't think they have a super hefty leg to stand on. And we did need an upgraded O line because he was running for his life often, and our receivers did need to get a little bit better, but he was culpable as well. And so to me, with a starting year of experience under your belt, another offseason, this was the year to take the leap. They obviously were addressing O line. We got the guy that came in from Notre Dame. We signed David Sanders or whatever, the 5-star dude from North Carolina. So they're addressing this stuff. So I don't see how it was not a money related issue. So the timing is unfortunate, and I was a Nico fan and was looking forward to seeing how he was going to improve. Uh, but hey, if we got to ride with Merklinger or McIntyre, whichever one of those two, then that's just what we're gonna have to do. And I mean, it's not gonna be Dylan Sampson, but hopefully this combination of Deshaun Bishop and Peyton Lewis, I think his name is, can be a running back by tandem, the same way like Jabari Small and Jalen Wright were the last 2 seasons before Sampson.
Yeah, and my issue with the whole, it wasn't the money, it was the offense type deal. Was like under Heupel's offense, didn't the last two QBs get drafted to the NFL? One of them after he blew out his knee.
Yeah, Hendon Hooker after he blew out his knee, and Joe Milton after an incredibly unimpressive season, at least in my opinion, season.
Yeah, so like you said, like the like they ran it more last year, and you talked about this. Like they ran it more last year than they did previously, but that was because they knew they were having a true freshman QB come in there, and he kind of showed at times that they needed to be able to
Redshirt freshman,
redshirt.
but yeah.
Okay. Oh, he redshirted. I thought he was a true freshman. Okay. Um, but
No, because he started the Orange Bowl or whatever bowl against Iowa
oh,
the
that's right.
previous
Yeah.
season.
Um, but like oh, Paige, appreciate it. I got all the jerseys now. I got every transfer that came in their jersey. I'm gonna try to
No, nobody cares. Nobody cares.
wait till next year. If Owe comes back, man, he gonna embarrass the hell out of Tennessee. But it like Heupel did what he needed to with the talent. That was one thing I don't like Tennessee at all. But I couldn't look at Tennessee and go, or Heupel. When I talked about this, I said I was impressed with the fact that I know you care. I'm gonna put that up there. Paige cares. But Heupel did what like Stoops couldn't do and Hamden couldn't do last year with adapt to the players you had. Heupel kind of slowed the offense down. He ran the ball more. He did what he had to do to win games. And I bet if he had confidence in Nico going into year two, which I imagine he would, or I guess year three, but two as a starter, he would probably he
Yeah,
wants to sling that thing around. Like he wants to stretch that thing out,
I
put
agree.
receivers outside the numbers and throw the rock. So I don't buy that it was the offense. That
Me neither.
I think that they saw dudes like Carson Beck and the kid from Michigan who hadn't even played a snap yet get paid a bunch of money, and they misevaluated what his sum money was. Because the UCLA money is apparently less than what he was going to get at Tennessee, and they have a new OC, I think. So, like, you can't tell me it's the offense when you're going into a program whose new OC and you don't even know what it's going to look like at UCLA. So,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think is
It's less money, and you got California taxes vice
exactly.
Tennessee,
Yeah,
where we don't
I
have to
was
pay
getting. I
tax.
wrote that down because it's like this is
Yeah,
this is grown man shit now. This is like adult shit where you have to look at it and go, not only is it less money, but I'm getting taxed on it more. Like it's significantly less. Tennessee's got no state tax. California going to tax the hell out of that money. Um,
yep.
and so I think his dad and his uncle, who apparently are the ones that represent him, just mismanaged the situation. And unfortunately, the problem is, Coach Evans just said that about the tax hit. Yeah, unfortunately, the result goes back on Nico, right? Because unless you're really paying attention, there no one's looking at like, oh, see, his dad just made a mistake or the uncle made whatever. It's like, oh, Nico's a prima donna. He's a fucking bum. He wants more money. But when you watch Nico play, especially against Ohio State, where his damn helmet cracked twice and he's still going out there and trying to will his team to a victory, like that's a dude you want on your team, in my opinion. But um, I'm not a big Cam Newton podcast fan, to be quite honest. Every time he talks behind a mic, I think he sounds,
I can't.
yeah.
Yeah,
But he actually had a decent point on his Fourth and One podcast when he was like, my dad is the most influential dude in my life. But he's never been in the situation that I'm in right now with the money and the fame and whatnot. So like there's some things that he can't advise me on. So like my contract situations and my decisions about money is not one. I'll take his advice on whatever the hell everything else. But when it comes to like my career, he can't. I don't listen to him because that's something he's never been to. And I was like, that's a good point because for us, like if my pops tells me something, I'm gonna be like, yeah. Even today at 34, I'm like, yes sir, all right, makes sense. But like if I was doing something career where big money and I got to rely on him to make decisions for me, if he calls me and says, hey, you're not doing this, okay, and I'm going to just listen to him, and unfortunately it's like that's probably the situation he was put into, which isn't fair, which at some point you have to be able to say like, which is why they got to fix this NIL thing and transportal thing. So where you have like actual agents and not just, mom, dad, aunt, uncle, dude you live next to in the cul-de-sac who's making decisions for you because they don't always have your best
Yep.
interest in mind, especially when they're getting 15% of your money.
Yeah, I mean, and his family probably does have his best interest, right? But that doesn't mean that they know what they're talking
Yeah,
about. And I do think he received some bad guidance, and that's what I've been saying, and that's why I'm not really dogging Nico, and
yeah,
that's like I did not want to lose him. I wanted him to come back. Uh, I thought he played hard, played for his guys, and I was looking forward to seeing the improvement. Um, so yeah, from what I can tell, I think the UCLA thing is set in stone, which I think they have a completely new staff. Because I didn't, when I was hearing UCLA, I didn't think it was going to happen because his brother, like decommitted from them while UCLA was in their house. So I was like, they really burned the UCLA bridge, but it's a completely new staff. Um, so yeah, I mean, in the end, I think it was a bad decision, but I don't wish bad on Nico like most Tennessee fans that I've been seeing. Um, I hope he can get it figured out and all that. I also don't really care anymore.
yeah,
Don't wish any bad on him, but he's not a Vol. He's a Bruin. So I want to know I want to know if we're gonna get anybody, and then if not, what's Merklinger and McIntyre? They're probably gonna have to figure it out in fall camp. Who's gonna be the starter?
yeah. Well, the last kind of piece of that is a lot, so if there's a quarterback who is capable of playing at Tennessee under that system, obviously, you're not going to just go get anybody like it's Tennessee football. So you're going to get a highly touted dude. They don't want to look like Nico, right? Like they don't want to leave in the spring after they've already committed to a team and they've got their money. It just kind of was a domino effect of just bad business, right? So you're probably going to have to stick with
It
what's on your
was
roster. And did you see this? UT pursuing Bex from Iowa. Interesting. Um,
okay. The last name I saw was whatever the guy from Kansas State. That was the
yeah,
last him. And then there's a guy leaving from Notre Dame. That's who Sports Animal was talking about a lot. Was the kid from Notre Dame.
yeah. That's probably what it's going to have to be, right? Is a
Uh,
kid who is a 5-star, 4-star guy who's sitting behind somebody who's not getting a lot of playing time. That kind of makes sense for him to move on, and then you hope he can match the potential, kind of like what we got last year with Brock. 5-star kid who was sitting behind Beck, wasn't going to get any PT, so he wanted to come to Kentucky, and obviously it didn't work out. Not his fault. Our O line was absolute trash. So, um, yeah, we'll see how it goes, man. And if
yeah.
Tennessee football has a down year because they don't have a quarterback, I will be okay with it.
I'm sure. I'm sure. And here's the other thing that makes it tricky. They want a senior because one, they don't want to lose McIntyre, but then they also have Faison or whatever from the 5-star quarterback from
Oh
North
yeah,
Carolina coming in the following year. And so, if you bring in a freshman and then he balls out, or even a sophomore and he balls out, how does that impact that guy? Now, I don't know what Heupel's approach is. Do you say like, look, man, this kid isn't signed or committed until a following year? I got to worry about right now, and you do the best you can right now, or do you play a little bit longer game, maybe accept kind of a down year in hopes that the phase on era, comes in and lifts us right back up. So I'm curious what Heupel's mindset is. His approach is pretty limited to who's available in the portal. Um, but I'm curious what his mindset would be on that.
I think you got to live in the here and now, man, because like the way that the college
Oh,
football,
I agree.
it's like you can't just sit there and say, oh, uh, plot twist, Brock comes out of retirement. Golly, that would kill me. Because I think he would be great in any other system. Honestly, like when Beck was struggling last year, and the way that you never know, it may be coach speak, but the way Kirby talked about him, like I wouldn't have been surprised if he gave BVG the opportunity, because just Beck just was not on his game last year. But who knows? But yeah, I'll finish the college football piece up is like you never know when these kids are going to leave, or like you for years and years and years, decades
Yeah.
and decades and decades, college football fans love spring ball. They would buy, especially these big programs. They buy tickets and go watch their teams play and get all hyped up. And now coaches are terrified to have a televised spring game because other coaches are watching their second and third string dudes ready to poach them. Out of the portal. It's like they
Yeah.
got to figure this thing
Yeah.
out, man. Because it's just this isn't like old man on the stoop, get off my lawn type thing. It's like the name, image, and likeness piece was not pay to play. It was not what it is now. It was, hey, if a dude represents a university and brings them money, he should, if the university is getting paid for this guy's performance, he also should get paid, which makes sense, So it's like that's what it should be on. But you know, I do think I don't know that I fully believe this, but I would like to think this Nico situation has a trickle effect on not the NCAA because they're powerless, but somebody stepping up saying, okay, like we got to do something because we can't have dudes in college trying to do 1 year contracts and holding out to go to um, to go to other places and ruin their reputation, ruin the university's chances, or whatever it is. They got to figure that out, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't think it's old man stuff because I mean, in the end, who does this impact? It impacts us as fans because if we got to start paying one dude $8 million, $5 million, guess how they're going to pay that? Ticket prices are going to go up. Tennessee ticket prices
Yeah,
already
Tennessee
have.
did it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So that it's selfishly we're like this has to get under control, but it just makes it, even if you take the money out of it, it makes it hard as a fan. Um, because college was different than the pros, right? And again, you and Black know me. I'm all about the guys getting paid, but it makes it a little harder to root for these guys when it feels like all it's about is money now. Like for me, I want there to be loyalty to the Power T. You want there to be loyalty to the Big Blue Nation and all that. And now when it's like, oh, you just want to come here so you can get your $4 million, it just it makes it a little harder. I'm still going to be able to root for the T, but I want to root for the fellas too. So yeah,
yeah,
I
hundred
hope
percent.
I hope some reins and constraints can get put on it because I want to root for the guys, and so I'd like for there to be a way where they can get it back under control so we can money and it doesn't like water down us rooting for our squads. Cody, I think you might be
Wait, wait,
right.
wait.
Um, what it is going to take is the coaches or the NIL collectives to kind of get on the same page. I did see the Syracuse coach, their top receiver wanted like $2 million, and the Syracuse coach was like, "Absolutely not. You are not about to try to strong arm me. I'm
Oh
not
yeah,
paying a
he's going
college
to Miami
receiver
now, right?
$2 million." Yeah, yeah. So it will take university collectives, coaches, and all that, kind of the way NFL owners do, where they all call each other like, hey, here's just a line that we can't cross or whatever. They're all going to have to be on the same page. So I don't know if the Nico situation will shift it back or not, but I feel like it puts us right on the line, and it's going to go one way or the other. So I think Nico's kind of tilted it back towards the universities because it didn't work out for him. But you see a couple of guys trying, like the Syracuse receiver tried. So there'll probably be one more year of one, two, three, four players trying. And if that doesn't work, then I think the power is back in the university. So it's going to take some discipline. Like, do I want to win now, and am I willing to pay this guy, or do we kind of got to try to regain power as an entity, as a
Yeah.
university, as colleges? So we'll see. I think it's definitely at
Heupel's
least the start.
Yeah, Heupel's
Go ahead.
decision was
Sorry.
not easy one. The AD's decision was not the easy one, but it was the right one because if they would have said we got to have Nico, we're paying him 4 million. Good grief, every big name prospect, whatever, like dudes who hadn't even had played a snap in college football would have been like, oh, I'm decommitting because I'm renegotiating my contract, right? So like that stand had to be made, in my opinion. It's not going to be an easy one. It might affect him this year, but hopefully the fan base rallies around him and says like it was a decision that had to be made. And if they would have just paid him the money, I think that would have been the wrong decision because it would have just set a bad precedence moving forward. But
It would have set a terrible
um,
precedent, and that was just his sophomore year. So he probably would
I
have
think,
asked for more
yeah,
going into his junior year, and then more his senior year. So
yeah, and it's like a contract should mean something. Like he came in, he already had signed an unprecedented contract to go to Tennessee, and for a
yes,
3 year deal. So it should mean something.
he was
And,
getting
and, and
paid
I
while
want to
he was
touch
still in high school.
Yeah. I want to touch on something that you said, like of what makes college football great. The NFL game is a better football product. There's no doubt about it. The players are better, like the coaching is better, like all around, like the NFL game is a better product. Um, if you're talking about X's and O's football, but what makes college football great is the Michigan Ohio State thing where like I'm planting a flag in the middle of your field and the other team wants to beat your ass for it, right? In the NFL, you lose a game, even a playoff game, like outside the Super Bowl, where it's like you probably have some emotions because it's right there. Like, how many times are you watching a dude lose a game and then meeting another dude at center field or the 50-yard line and taking off a jersey and doing a jersey swap and dapping it up, and it's like, do, do you even give a shit that you just lost this game? Like, do you even care that you're on a
Yeah,
team that's won one game? So, but like in college football, what made that great was like every game when the season is in the scheme of things short, every game meant something, and especially the rivalries. Like you're not losing a game against it's not a Florida Tennessee or Kentucky Louisville, Ohio State Michigan, whatever, and where it's like, okay, well, hey, at least I'm getting paid. Let me dap you up, dog. We'll see you on the other end. I might be on your team next year, so let me not like if Michigan wants to pay me, I'll be over there from Ohio State, right? So it's like that's that's what makes the game great, and we got to make sure we don't get to that where it's tough to want to come to practice early in the morning before school, doing extra work in the weight room after school when you're getting paid millions of dollars, waking up in silk sheets and whatnot. Like so, there's definitely some legacy pieces of college football and college basketball too that need to be maintained. In my opinion, I think
yes,
we're all on the same page. I think it's going to have to take a commissioner. Um, I think there's going to have to be a CBA. It's going to be very difficult. There's going to have to be a mandate on like dudes need to be represented by you know actual agency folks and not just whoever the hell you want to um, because they have to be in some sorts treated like kids, and I hate to say that, like it's not derogatory, but they are not fully mature human beings, right? So they need to be taken care of and protected in some sorts. even your rookies coming into the league who have got multiple years, go through like the league makes them go through like financial training and like rookie camp and stuff like that, right? So like that sort of thing should be happening. And I know your boy Rasul talked about how Florida's doing that thing. I don't think that's happening at every school though, right? So,
Yeah. Um,
um,
yeah. There's a basketball question for you. It's about Kentucky. Like, I mean, nobody cares, but whatever.
oh, shifting gears, B-ball. Are you guys? I hate to talk about this, but you think UK is pursuing? So we did talk about this. I really like the kid, the star kid. I watched him in the McDonald's All American game. He is a he. Griffin, I talked about him. I think he plays just like J. Rob. So I think Pope can sell that easily. Would love to see him in. He's got some connection with Mo D as well, and I think he played high school ball with Casey Wallace. So I mean, Casey Wallace was a Cal dude, but maybe there's Kentucky connections there. I gotta be honest. I don't know the whole Eagle staff situation, but the fact that he is a very similar to this dude went from University of North Dakota, committed to South Carolina, and in the same transfer portal season, decommitted from South Carolina and went back into the portal. So there was definitely some collusion shit going on there. And or I don't, I it seems that ways. From what I've read and people who I've talked to, this wasn't a South Carolina decision. This was a Eagle staff decision. Now, if maybe there were some other things that led into that. I don't think they brought anybody who took his role. I don't think there was a change in what the coaching staff told him he would be doing at South Carolina as a Gamecock when he transferred. So, like, without knowing all the facts, I look at what I know and say I don't know that I want that guy on my team. Like he committed to a team and then less than a month later decommitted to go chase more money is what it seems like. So I don't know. And I think just watching this game, I don't know that he was going to transfer well into the SEC. He had some big games. He also had some duds. But he dropped fuck, was it 40 on Alabama when they played them or something like something crazy. But yeah, so that's my opinion on that. And I think we can land Griffin. Um, if we can land, my personal choices would be Griffin and Stojakovic, and then we get Ortega back, and then we start cooking. That's what I would hope, Cody. We shall see. Um, but before we
Stojakovic
get
would
away,
that'd be huge. He's a hooper. He can go.
I
I've seen
agree. I
him.
agree.
Yeah.
He at Cal he only shot like 32%. Um, but I agree. In a more efficient offense, I think he's good. All right, so we're back on ball. What do you think, T?
Can I ask about UT? It's a big transition without Zakai for sure. I mean, it's going to be a brand new team, kind of what Kentucky went through this year. Pope had to bring in a whole new team. That's exactly what we're gonna have to do. We have no guards or forwards returning that got any kind of significant playing time. So our our 1 through 3 is all going to be new, and then our starting 4 is probably going to be the carry dude from Vanderbilt. So it's going to be a brand new team. But that being said, Rick Barnes is definitely like the portrait of consistency. So you're still going to have to play defense if you're going to be on the court for him. His primary play is still going to be that curl at the free throw line, most likely. Um,
Yeah.
and now our point guard is Gillespie from Maryland, and Rando and Black know a lot more about him. They've watched him more than I did, but apparently he can go. Don't expect him to be Zakai, but I expect him to be able to contribute probably in a different way. Zakai led the SEC in assists, and he's the all-time assist leader at UT and all that. So I think Gillespie will be successful. It won't be Zakai. It won't be the defense that Zakai had, but as a team, Rick Barnes he's not letting any players out on that court if they're not going to give you defensive effort. So it's going to be a brand new from the 1 through 3. But luckily, we'll have at least Felix Akpara and Kay Phillips back. Yeah, everybody seems to be pretty nervous about Rice. They were super confident a few days ago, and then all of a sudden he took a trip out to USC and then I think Arizona. So now everybody's nervous, but they're hoping Gillespie can convince Rice to come. And then Rando and I were talking about this earlier in the show. The signs seem to be pointing to a Mint coming to us. Apparently, he and Rick Barnes have a good relationship. But I told Rando I don't get too I don't get too caught up into it until those rascals sign. Once they sign, then I get excited and then I'll go check them out and stuff. But the arrows do seem to be pointing to a Mint coming, and then we're still in contention for that guy from LMU who averaged like 19 points a game. But yeah, until they sign, I just kind of wait and let it happen.
Yeah, the difference with I think Jacoby compared to Zakai is just he's like you. This is a big body point guard. This is not an undersized. Zakai kind of got to figure out how to be crafty. Like Jacoby's a big dude. So playing at that spot, bigger body. Um, we'll see how well he can play. But yeah, he did well with Maryland, and he's got deep tournament experience. So you can't. I don't think you can just go out and buy that. Um, but before we get away, we were talking about
He's not that big. He's
college.
6'1", 6'1", 185.
I just looked him up
I mean, that's
61. I thought he was bigger. I thought he was 60. Well, what was the Kai?
I mean, I
5'10"
was gonna say compared to
on a
yeah,
good day.
compared on yeah on ESPN, he's probably 5'7", 5'8". So I mean, compared to Zakai, that's big, but I mean 6'1", Steph is 6'3", and he looks like a midget in the NBA. So
Yeah,
six
that's
one
true.
is
I think I was thinking about it. I was Jacoby from Maryland, but there was that Pierre kid who ended up going to uh, SMU, who's a point guard. He's like 6'5" or something. I think I had him on my mind, but yeah, Jacoby's nice. That was a good get. But we were talking about see, they're 4'10". Yeah, he's 4'10". He's been playing 17 years of college football. That's what I've been. That's the
that
narrative
boy
I've
is
been preaching.
22 years old, man. He is 22.
Yo, Chad Baker Mazar in the transfer portal. My goodness gracious, man. What is going
Uh,
on?
uh,
Did you
yeah,
hear?
and I'm
We're getting off. I was say we're getting off topic. Apparently, he has a buyout in his NIL contract or something. I don't know how true it is. I saw it on Twitter, and I was like, what? Like how he managed that, I have no idea. But yeah, hitting the transfer portal is at playing next year at 26 is crazy.
That is insane. That is absolutely insane. And I was hoping we'd be done with like all the kind of extra super duper senior from the extra COVID year and all that stuff. So hopefully this is the last wave of that. But now, of course, the new JUCO rule, we're just gonna have these old bodies still around anyway. It's so wild in college sports right now.
Yeah,
He's
it
supposed to be
is.
like
It's
18 to 23, man. That's about it. Like,
yeah, it's wild. But
however, he
before,
should be. He needs to win the dang Wooden Award. You can't be 26 and not be the best player in the dang country.
yeah, man. I mean, even like I imagine Bruce Pearl. The reason why he's in transfer portal is Bruce Pearl said like, "Hey, whatever money he threw out there, like we're not paying you that. Like you ain't worth it, dude. Like you're 26." So he's going to the portal, and if Bruce Pearl is like, "Nah, dog, we ain't paying you that money after just having him on the team, and making a tournament run." Hey, dog, it probably time to hang it up. I don't know, but somebody will take him. Someone will pay him,
Yeah, they
and
will.
and he'll get his last year eligibility somewhere. Um, and like we were talking about in our chat, like everybody else will clown him. Whoever's team he'll on, they'll love it because you're getting a 26-year-old dude playing against kids, right? So it's like he should be able to hoop and play well and give you good minutes, but whatever. But
Yeah.
before we get off of college sports, I was going to say this: Lee Corso retiring, man. He's going to have one more game. For me, and I mean we're in the same boat. That's like college football like game day what we grew up on, man. So it was time. You saw him last year, like a poor man was like barely able to talk on TV, but he announced his retirement. I thought that was pretty cool. They're going to give him his flowers at ESPN, and at 90 years old, he's finally going to hang it up, which is crazy.
Yeah, he deserves his flowers, right? I mean, he's legendary. Um, I mean, I guess in a good way, like he was struggling up there, and so they were kind of starting to evolve and kind of move on from him. So it won't be a brand new look, but it will be different without him. His energy was always fun. Not so fast, my friend. He was
Yeah,
even on
yeah,
the video games back in the day. So yeah, he definitely deserves his flowers. He's a legend for sure, and he was fun to watch. So you know, not that he'll hear it, but congratulations to him on a great career
yeah.
for sure.
It's kind of it's a new generation, right? Because Dickie V don't have much left in him. Poor man's been going through
Yeah.
cancer and he can barely talk anymore. So it's like our generation of college sports is going away, and now you got the new dudes, and the new voice of college football is Kirk Herbstreit and Pat McAfee. Man, like I would never have guessed that. Like that is college game day now, which is kind of crazy. It's how the shift has
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah,
Um,
especially the Pat McAfee one. Like Kirk, I get it because Kirk's been around. He's really, really good. Also, um, you know, Reese Davis makes sense. He's still there.
yeah,
Chris Fowler. Um, but yeah, the Pat McAfee one that was definitely caught me. Definitely was a
yeah.
surprise for me.
Sitting center stage, just causing a ruckus. Um, but yeah, man. So right now, outside of college ball, we'll close this thing out. We got the NBA playoffs and we got the NFL draft. Did you watch any of the play-in stuff?
I did. I did. Yeah, I caught the very end of the Hawks game today. Um, the Hawks actually, they're kind of a poverty franchise, man, but they actually seem like they're moving in the right direction. Even though they lost today to the Heat, your boy Hero, I can't stand him, but he's balling, and
Hey,
I
Jimmy
mean
moved on so he could shine, man. Like he has absolutely stepped up since Jimmy left.
he has. So I'll never knock and say that he can't play. I just don't like his personality. Um, But yeah, I watched them, and I started the Memphis Dallas game, but that one got out of hand real early.
Yeah.
Your boy AD, another Kentucky guy, he had like 40 something, but Dallas, I mean, Dallas was in a bad position without Kyrie. They were just in a bad way. PJ Washington was a no show, so it's good to see a Kentucky guy
Yeah.
stink. Although in
Yeah. He
fairness,
played
I
great in
liked
the
him at
first game.
Kentucky.
Yeah. I love
Um,
PJ.
and Yeah, I liked him at Kentucky. Just it just sucked that he was at Kentucky. And then who was yesterday? I'm trying to remember if I watched the games yesterday.
Was there? I thought there
It
was there a there was Wednesday
was
was
two
the
2 days
7-8
ago. Yeah,
seeds. Steph
yeah.
Steph and Jimmy get a W, which against Memphis,
Over
right?
Memphis. Yeah,
Yeah,
over Memphis.
which they
That was
were
a fun
they were
game.
up big. They were up big and they let them come back. That's Golden State's problem. Even with Jimmy, is their defense just even with Jimmy and Draymond, their defense just disappears for a quarter and they let teams get back in the game.
Yeah, I mean they don't have any rim protection. That's been their issue forever
Yeah,
because Draymond is their center and he's what 6'8", 6'9", and not only that, he's also 34, so he's got a 26-inch
yeah,
vertical leap now. So he's not rim protecting or anything. But that was a super entertaining game. It's always good
it
to
was.
see legacy guys do their thing. I love watching Steph. So Steph went to Davidson, which is in Charlotte, and I went to Wingate, which is 30 miles from Charlotte. And so, you know how they show the local college games. So I've been watching him heavy since Davidson. So I've always liked him. I've always rooted for him. So it's always good to see him, just continue to build on a already awesome legacy. So they're playing Lakers got Minnesota. I'll be tuned
That's gonna
into
be a good
that.
series.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a good
Yeah.
one. And then Steph and them have Houston. What's crazy is Houston is the number 2 seed, but I still have not really watched them all season. So I'm looking forward to seeing why they are a number 2 seed. I'm also looking forward to watching Reed Shepard um, sit comfortably on the bench and not play. Uh,
Hey, DK's right
but
there with him.
but
Connect right there with him. He ain't getting minutes
I
anymore now
know,
that Luka
man.
got there.
I know. It was crazy. JJ loved him at the start of the season. They tried to trade him, and it's been rough ever since.
Yep.
So
No,
go ahead
that
and get my boy a ring. Get my boy a ring this year, and then trade him somewhere. Let him go flourish. That's what I want
zero
to see
chance,
happen.
man. Zero chance. I love Luca. If Luca and LeBron would have been paired together 2 years ago, 3 years ago, maybe, but I don't know because you got a different Luca now and you got an old LeBron. Um, but I don't think the team can do it.
He's
Uh,
still an All NBA, which is crazy because he's 40, but he's still an All NBA type
yeah,
dude.
um, I agree. I think which is wild. The 2 versus 7, Golden State, Houston. Houston's the underdog in that series. Which is kind of crazy. But I think it's just because they're a young team. Ma is a great coach. He
He
shined
is.
before, and he just kind of got himself in trouble, and now he's doing good things at Houston. There's a young team, and kind of like OKC last year, right? Like OKC was a great team, but they hadn't been there before, so they just kind of fizzled out. But that's what I'm hoping. I hope we get a OKC, like kind of go off the my Magic in the tournament or into the playoffs. They smacked um, Atlanta in that first play game.
Yeah, they beat the Hawks. I watched that
Yeah,
game.
um, it does hurt that they're led by a Dookie, even though Bankero, I don't know if he's going to be healthy or not for that for the first
He's such a
series.
baller, though.
Um,
He's so good.
He is good. He is good. Right now, Brea is drafted to Orlando, and I'm like, you got to make that happen. I'll be stoked if that happens. But if I would like to see just like a unique playoff like OKC Cavs. That's what I would like to see. Like get those young studs in there, play against Donovan Mitchell in the Cavs team against Shea. I think that would be exciting. It won't be what the NBA wants because it's not box office. It's not Channing or I was gonna say Channing Tatum. Good God, where's my mind
Jason
at?
Tatum.
Jason Tatum. But and the Celtics versus LeBron and Luke and the Lakers. That's probably what they're begging for. But yeah, this is the time to really get engaged into the NBA because it's the most fun. Um, and then lastly is the NFL draft. We got we got a lot of time left. Where do you think Shadur is going to go? That's my biggest question. Where is Shadur going to get drafted? Because he can go anywhere from 2 to Cleveland to 21 to Pittsburgh to the second round, man. Like, I don't know where to even gauge where he's going to go.
I I don't know, man. Probably the Giants. Because right now, I don't even know who do the Giants have.
They got Jameis and
Oh, and
freaking
Russ,
yeah, Mr. Unlimited.
Jamison
I would say
Russ,
yeah, Mr.
Jamison
Unlimited. Yeah,
Russ.
yeah. So I don't know, man. I mean, they probably think they have something there. But yeah, I mean, Cleveland is rocking with Joey Flacco right
What's
now.
the Saints pick?
Um,
Oh, that's
so
true.
that they're 9. I think
That's
they're
true.
9,
That
and yeah, so that he could go there. It's going to be. I'm not. Cam Ward is picked to go 1 at to Tennessee. I don't think he's going to translate to the NFL game, man. I just my personal opinion. His throwing motion's awkward. I think he's always been the best athlete on the field. Yes, he came from Incarnate Word and made his way to the ACC. So like he's got some dog in him he's got some chips that can stacked on his shoulders. So maybe that works to his advantage. Um, but I don't see anybody in this draft class like last year with uh, Daniels. Like he just looked the part. I liked him. The year before, I watched CJ carve up Georgia, and I was like, this is a dude who's a Sunday guy. I don't know that I see that this year in the draft. If I'm a GM, I see Carter and I see Travis Hunter as like generational, and I pick them and I figure out my quarterback situation later on because next year's draft is supposed to be better. But I know these two dudes aren't going to miss, so that's what I go after.
that's not going to stop
Um,
the Titans. I mean, this isn't
yeah, they
even
got
hate on
to right.
Kentucky. Well, I mean, they drafted Will Levis, and
Yeah,
this isn't even Kentucky. This isn't even Kentucky hate. Like Levis clearly was not going to be a dude ready to like lead a franchise to success in the league, and they drafted him anyway. So that's not going to stop the Titans from drafting Cam Ward. Like they'll draft whoever.
Yeah, yeah. It's and Will Levis has the tools, man. He just like his mind. I met him this year. Real nice dude. Dude, I mean, just a fucking human specimen. But you watch him play, and he's got an absolute arm cannon, and then he does shit like throw the ball to the other team on the 2 yard line, and he like just like he makes plays for the other team, and you're like, what are you doing, man? I'm not a Titans fan, so like him going there, a lot of Kentucky fans are Tennessee Titan fans, so they like to see him kind of can play for the fan base, but yeah, from the jump, he frustrated the hell out of me his last year. I know he was injured, he had the turf toe, or whatever, but he frustrated the hell out of me his last year at Kentucky because he just underwhelmed. So I didn't think I was in a big Levis, think he was going to do well in the NFL. But yeah, the draft is going to be fun. My Dolphins are F, dude. Like they don't have enough money to even pay all their draft picks. We are going to suck so bad next year. They got Greer is terrible. McDaniel is terrible. Tua is made of absolute glass. And Tyreek and Jalen probably aren't going to be on the team next year. I'm okay with Jalen. He's kind of hit his he's past his prime. Tyreek probably has a couple years left in him, but jeez Louise, man, we've the Dolphins are going to
Oh,
stink.
Jalen
Yeah,
Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey.
I,
Yeah, not
I
Waddle.
thought you were talking. I thought you were talking about Waddle.
No,
Yeah,
he's also made of glass, but we
or
can still
Jalen,
afford him.
or Jalen Wright, who's a stud
Yeah,
and comes from Tennessee.
yeah.
So
Um, uh,
that's okay. My Cardinals stink too, so don't feel bad about it. I I don't even pay attention to draft stuff with the Cardinals. I'm like, I don't care who we get, we're still gonna stink. So
at least you
whatever.
got Harrison Jr. Like you got like pieces that to be excited about. That like we
Should have got Malik Neighbors, man.
you like him better. Interesting.
Right? Uh, I don't know. I don't. Everybody kind of chalks up Harrison's season as a failure. I certainly don't think he's the primary blame. I think Kyler Murray is. I'm not a Kyler Murray fan. Um, I mean, he would go 2-3 games and barely throw Harrison the ball. So, like, how you expect him to have rookie of the year type success if you're not giving him the
Yeah,
chances?
McBride's
So
his favorite
we'll
target.
see. They've had it. Yeah, which hey, McBride's good and all that, but if you draft a receiver number 4 overall, like you got to feed
Feed a
this dude
rock.
a
Yeah.
rock. So hopefully they've had a season under their belt together, an off season together. We'll see what happens in the sophomore season. I mean, we personnel wise we don't stink, but just as a franchise we do. I mean, James Conner is nice at running back. McBride is nice at tight end. Harrison's good at receiver, though. I think Greg Dortch is probably our number 2 receiver, so we're real light.
Yeah.
We're real light at receiver. So we need some help there, but yeah, I don't know. We'll stink again, so it doesn't matter.
It looks like your boy is gonna get Genty in Vegas, which that's not a bad pick. He's on the offensive side of the ball, so he's not going to be coaching them. But Genty to the Raiders, that's a dude. That's another guy. It's like, yeah, get him on my team. He is just built different.
I agree. So they got what's this Bowers at tight end. If they go ahead and get Genty at running back, Geno Smith's the quarterback now, right? And then Hunter Renfro. So they got to get Hunter Renfro is actually a really good receiver,
Yeah,
but
and
you
I
need
think
like a number
Jacoby
1
is their
outside
ex. I
guy.
think Jacoby's their ex. Meyer, yeah.
Myers. Okay. Okay.
So good, but yeah, not like a stud, right? You don't have like a dude, so probably had
Yeah.
to get one. But man, to be honest, like the way things are going, it seems like these receivers that you have like your generational guys, like your JJs and those dudes, your Jamars, but like a good one receiver, like is his name Mbike from Ohio State. Like he was behind Jeremiah Smith, and before that he was behind Marvin Harrison. But like he's a one type guy. You could probably get him in the late first round, second round. Like he just kind of getting slept on. So I think receivers nowadays, the way they play 7-on-7 ball in their skill positions, like I think you can get a good receiver in the second round and be all right. What Stephon Diggs was a second round receiver, I
Yeah. I
think.
mean, yeah. I mean, Lab McConkley or
Okay.
whatever. He showed that with the Chargers. he was solid. So if you can get, yeah, if you can get like a Cooper Cup, a Lab McConkey, and then a Jackson Smith and Jigba type guy, like you got a solid receiver room.
Yeah,
So yeah, maybe not just a guy that you can trust go into every play, but you can know that somebody's going to get open every play. You just got to have a quarterback who can read that.
yeah. And Gino's that dude, and you got freaking Tom Brady making the decisions up there in Vegas now. So, um, you know, we'll see if someone can dethrone the Kansas City Taylor Swifts and take that division over. Um, but man, it's we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. We talk about it next time. We'll get Alex back on here, and you might be able to dog him for stealing Nate Mint by next week when we get on here, and I'm sure
We'll see.
he'll,
Yeah, we'll see what
he'll
happens.
appreciate that. But yeah, we got some good. We got wrestling this weekend, NBA playoffs starting up. The draft is next week. And then portal season for basketball will hopefully kind of start wrapping up. It'll close, and then NFL or the college football portal season is open now. So who knows what's going to happen in the spring? And we'll get back at it next week.
Cool. Go Big Orange.
Hey, nah, go Cats, big blue nation.